2022. It's called to order. Approximately 6:04. May we rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anybody want to address the board? For the second time. Does anybody want to address the board? For the third time, does anyone want to address the board? Seeing none, vote. We have now the reports and comment administration.
Thank you, Patrick. Just a couple of things. First of all, it's good to be back. But I want to thank the members of our administrative team for covering, getting us through the end of the school year. In particular, Judy did an amazing job, balancing both balancing her responsibilities as well as taking on some of ours. I do anticipate some surgery next month. Hopefully, put what I have behind me. And it should be ready to go at the beginning of the school year. So I'm very excited, very happy about that. But I can't thank our administrative team for doing things that just need to get done in the end to end any school year. And I missed it, quite honestly. I missed the graduation and I missed some of the events, but I was just in the middle of the chemotherapy and just being exposed. So. Again, I appreciate everything that everybody has done and stepped up. And all the kind words, by the way, that cards, and texts, and emails, and everybody's concerned in that made me feel very good. All right, just a couple of things. First of all, as you can see tonight, hiring, we're in pretty good shape as of right now. We've been able to fill just about all of the positions that were open due to retirement or people leaving. I always jinx myself though, because sure enough, when there's a month to go before school starts and somebody unexpected will leave in a shortage area, we'll do the best we can to fill those jobs. But as of right now, we are in very, very good shape to open the school year. And we're getting ready to talk about this at our next meeting. I tonight about some of our professional development things we have planned in the new teacher orientation. All of those things are underway. We work with unions to plan those, and those are happening. We're doing that right now. So we're in good shape as far as hiring. I know that the board, and Bob, you had asked about an operating budget. One of the reasons we didn't put it on tonight is, even though we anticipate saving money with our new hirees, because you're bringing in more teachers in the lower steps, so there's certainly some cost savings. What we found this year, you'll probably notice this if you're looking at some of the hiring letters, we've been able to get a lot of people with a couple of years experience leaving districts like New Haven or Bridgeport districts. So the savings, while they're going to be there, aren't going to be as great. So we want to see how that shakes out before we give you a final number. But the good news is the candidates that we hired, they've got a little bit of experience. We're not bringing them in the bottom step, we're not bringing them in the top step. But we have seen we've been the benefactor of people leaving the major districts, and that's a good thing right now. But we'll be able to finalize those numbers shortly. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about, again, is some of our construction projects, which all seem to be going very well. If you take a ride by Baylor, beautiful. We've got some other things in the work. The two projects that I want to bring up concerns actually. Number one is the lecture hall, which the original price came in double what we had budgeted for. We didn't just get those numbers, we got those numbers from Bill Bain and Antonazzi. We had to go for a bid waiver to keep them on the job because they were the architect and construction project that were here. So it had to go out and it's in the process of being redesigned. We had actually thought that would be well underway. I think we told you when we brought it for you originally, almost ready for the new opening of school. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. We'll get Ken here to hopefully give us better numbers with a redesign project. It's still something that we want to, since it's going to be named in Pam's memory, something that will, that still speaks to her dedication and service to our school district. So that's being done right now. So that's one concern. The other concern, and I started sharing this with some of the board members prior to the meeting, Washington Elementary School prices are coming in generally higher, and they were being told by the architect that to phase the project in similar to what we did at West Haven High School would make the project much more costly. The challenge with that is moving elementary school. So we're moving elementary school, moving an entire elementary school, staff and students. And as we were saying, the one thing about Washington is there's only 4 or 5 buses right now. So you would literally have to get the kids to Washington school and then get them somewhere. Where that's going to be, I'm not sure. We're looking at, we looked at for possibly Beloit with the church next door. Even that would be tight. Nursery on the Green is a possibility, but we would be looking at 2 locations. And the challenge with something like that, one of the reasons we're pushing back is, there's one principal that has to be in 2 places at one time. There's one reading specialist. So it's not just the classroom teachers, it's the support staff and the service teachers that we would have to hold and make sure that the kids receive their service. So, while I'm open to the idea, right now I don't know a good plan. Again, I understand that cost is the driving factor. I understand that it's a city project, so the budget is the budget, but we're going to look at this from an educational point of view before we move anyway. That came up. I know they moved that school in Orange. The thing about that is, from where Washington is, it's a little bit of time. You're going to lose some instructional time getting an entire school there every day and then leaving early to transport that. I envision the kids who don't take buses back to Washington School. Yeah, West Campus. I don't know if you remember a few years back, there was an incident with a peg place. There was an incident where the pipe goes over the weekend and they were able to move the whole school there. And that would be my preference. Keep the kids together. But again, I haven't heard a great plan yet, and we're trying to figure one out. So, but I wanted to bring that to your attention now before I bring that to Ken, because as I said, when Ken comes representing the building committee and the architects and the contractors, they're going to look at it from a cost point of view. We're going to look at it from what's best for kids' education and balance it with the cost. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Ken will be at the next meeting on the 15th at Booker today to come and talk about where those 2 projects stand, because those are the 2 biggest projects. And again, through no fault of anybody's, cost is just, it's up there. But it's tough to get materials, it's tough to get labor. That's a reflection of the times. So that being said, that's my report. Those are the things, again, that we worry about during the course of the summer: hiring, construction projects, in the budget.
Is there for Washington School?
You have to start. There's a certain date you have to start the project. I know we've got Judy and I have a meeting scheduled to go over programming because they're in the process right now of going to the state for approval of the program. Remember, anything that we do, when you do new school construction, is revolved around what the educational program is. You know, what are our needs educationally? And that's how then they determine there's a pretty standard formula as far as per square foot, per the number of kids and all that kind of thing. But they actually have to approve the program. So that's happening now. So it's proceeding. The problem is, again, whether we phase it in or whether we move the kids, which it's always easier to tear the school down and build a new one. It's much easier. But again, the challenge in this particular city to find a spot that's going to house roughly about 400 kids and, you know, probably 40 or 50 staff members.
Just a couple of questions, Superintendent. Obviously, we hope that the Bailey Cap is done on time. We have a plan B.
That project is what I'm told and what I've seen is ahead of schedule. And it is, we do plan on it opening on time. If it has to, the old cafeteria or just the older section is an option, but I don't see that as a concern. The one thing I am concerned about, you know, we're working with Sodexo to order the furniture for the whole cafeteria. We want to make sure that's coordinated with the completion of the construction project so that everything goes in there all at once.
And I know there's a couple of bids that the city got. Where did it stand with the status of the food service?
Okay, so there was an issue with that. There was, what happened was the city failed to advertise, or their advertisement was wrong.
Yeah, they sent it to firstmedia.com instead of firstctmedia.com. So it wasn't posted in a newspaper. You know, we're working with the State Department, the Service Department. You know, I did try to argue that. I emailed every vendor, telling them where it was posted, that it was available, when it was open. Fortunately, the city charter states that a bid must be published in a paper for at least 10 days. So when they saw that, our bid was ineligible. We were allowed to sign a 1-year waiver.
Which was previously approved due to
Yeah.
COVID. They allowed all districts, if they were working with a management company, to sign that. Our feeling was we had already got a year's extension. Let's try to put it to bed now for the next 5 years.
So we were able to do that before June 30th. So any summer meals will be reimbursed. And then we will just go to the bidding process again next summer around April. This bid, I think there's 14 vendors who were looking to gain access into this region. We only had two bids. So we have to go with waivers. So we are service management company and then bids and this.
Neil, what became of the on-call architectural services?
I am not 100% sure, but I can get you an answer.
I don't think, they may have advertised, to my knowledge, they have not hired anyone yet. There's nobody that, you know, has said to me, this is your on-site architect.
I'll contact the city purchasing agent tomorrow. And, I'll get you an answer on that.
Thank you.
Just as a follow-up, who the article not listing?
The city. So I know we're treated as a separate entity, but we are a department of the city. The city's finance and purchasing departments and legal team are in charge of procurement of all bids. So we give them all the information. They publish it. They see both bids.
I think it's standard process.
So I think that's a great question because keep in mind, as a department of the city, and the way the charter is structured, even though we have a lot of independence, everything we do goes through the finance office upstairs. I'll give you a perfect example. There was a major attorney line check this week. You know how difficult when they actually shorted us money, they took out teacher retirement. You know what it was like to try to get that money from the finance department, because if a person's out in the finance office, nobody can run a check, or nobody can, like Matt, one of the issues that he'll talk about when we, I'm sure you all saw that article in the paper, is setting up an account or doing those kinds of things. It's very difficult. I don't think it's anybody's fault. I just think they're very short-staffed in that finance office. But we are subject to go through them, again, whether it's paying a vendor, whether it's getting our people paid, whether it's getting a retired person their check for reimbursement for medical benefits or whatnot. So it's not all that simple. It's very difficult. It would be very nice and very easy for us to be able to do that ourselves, but we don't have the ability to write a check, for example, or to go get a check from someone. But that's a great point, and I just wanted to make sure I commented on it.
The reason I was asking was just because it's like, it seems like that would be a pretty, like, that happens frequently.
It's
and so-
standard operations.
Right, so how is the wrong? I don't know, it's just
That's-
really kind of happens.
Yeah, that's the answer I got when the state pushed for the article that was published. I tried to do our best to say our case that we did email it that they asked us to, we did publicize it on our website, we publicized it on the VAS system, but once they saw our charter required it, there's no other option but take the waiver.
Did you want to just address that article?
Sure. We do make journal entries, but every journal entry we make, like I said in the article, is supported by legitimate invoices and legitimate expenditures that are based on the grant that we make a journal entry to. The auditor has not come to me with any issues. When I heard that the issue with the state, that there was an issue state, I did call him directly. We had a conversation. I perceived him to be pretty taken aback by how it was stated. But journal entries are a regular occurrence. We support them and we show them exactly what I said earlier. I don't have the ability to create new grant funds, new account structures. So at times, our general fund has to be a pass-through. Have to get that to state in that fashion. I can't wait for something to be created to put the investment in. And I think the audit will be going ongoing. We're giving them everything they need. We're still on pace to have a substantial surplus, which will go right to the city's fund balance. And
Now, would it be possible for us to have a breakdown of what has been spent so far?
yes, I'll have it.
Chair, that's Trudy.
I'm sorry.
Our summer camp, being on the website. I hope it is on the website.
And download the app.
Yes. We have a lot of pictures of all the camps that have been in the process, and they're coming to our special education group the last to finish up. We will in August give you down on how the camps went. Kids loved it. We had so many kids that were attending their child wasn't able to attend one camp. Kids were pretty successful. So we will share with you some of those. We're looking forward to the professional development. We are bringing Larry Ainsworth back to our school system to refresh our curriculum, also to look into curriculum. He'll be working mostly with new teachers because since he was here about 10 ago, we have 257 per district. So, they went to go through the process, so we can part of that. We're also focusing on the school of climate coach development, because that's normal. That's normal before. And looking into some ways to make sure the children come in and staff come back. Not only that, we did start essential registration. It's been very quiet. A lot of people are doing it online. We do have appointments online. Somebody that wants this on. Okay, so Kathy Card right now is in charge of that area, but we have a couple of secretaries downstairs, like Letitia. So, and I want to try to make basically everybody up here. If somebody's out for lunch or something, we can always have somebody who walks in. So Kathy's in charge. Yes, she's in charge. They're working on this. And so it's working quite well. We worked on flyers. The website has a lot of information. Updated things to try to make it more friendly. So it's worked out quite well so far. We have Robin from the high school, the secretary of moving. She comes in on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays during the summer. People coming, and she's also here on those days to help us out. So far, so good. Yeah, and then once we.
I like that.
Yeah, because if you have, especially if you have 2 or 3 kids in the school.
That's my check.
And then once they get the information, it'll be sent to the schools. And the schools, I know the teachers, principals are all good about finding parents. They have orientation sometimes. We're taking to work. I know the police shelter, so it doesn't look like it's a little time they're bleeding right now. But, doesn't mean, oh my God, the principals are very good about it. Really works out well. We have packets. I worked with the other resource to house with packets of information to register with and so on. So it's all right there. So it's working out well so far.
This is a major goal to Judy's, and she spent the better part of the year planning. So I think it's something that the use of that is long overdue for the district. Most districts do a central registration. Good news is you push people to do registration online, it's even better. Not everybody has that luxury.
As a new resident, people really know what their home school is to go register anyway. So just to know this is where you go and we'll take care of this. Whatever we do.
He's so much on that website. It's free address.
Here's where it's a problem as well. Take, for example, this area over here, like Chestnut Street and Richmond Avenue. There's 2 or 3 schools because Styles is closed and other places are closed and we move kids around. So how come he's going to McCrill and I'm going to Haley or something like that? So it's not always as accurate, or I want to do this, or I'll cross my street and they can go to this school. So it's a little bit different.
Lastly, we are working on I'm working with teachers. There's a lot of people leaving last year was really good for coming back. Acclimating to teachers and what the norm
When you speak, you say all school would be for staff or
for staff,
kids?
for staff, to have those staff together. Like we did the old days. Yeah, like a welcome back to everybody.
Yeah, right now the answer is no. Difficult with that, so I can't do it, but I'm not gonna be around this year. Even if the new teacher already is. Yeah. But it's probably a good idea. You know, one of the things is that we're so limited with the number of professional days that we're allowed to have. It's like something's got to give, and that's the thing that gives the most. We try to do it by grade level, by subject area. We try to get the teachers in the buildings. We actually did. The last time we did it was when Larry Ainsworth was in town. That was the last time I believe. One time. I don't think it's about it. It's good. Is there things so?
Yeah, yes. I know. So, but we are planning that day so that actually circles, like, kind of model it to staff, how you work in children on the first. So modeling like circle type thing, get to know each other. I go into detail. So it's like, you know, what was done great during this? What are you looking for? So stuff that will not staff, so they can do it with their kids. And have a conversation with the kids. Because last year, I think when we came back, you know, we did behind, and we were so focused on academics. Trying to talk about it inside. Get to know one another, go back to routines. That is really hard. So we're working on.
And we'd love to have a stay with Larry. He's really good in design, writing, implementing, evaluating. No, he's very good. And again, a lot of credibility amongst the staff.
Of the summer schools, is there a way for us to perhaps expand those programs? I know, like, camps was a huge bit, and I think and offer it to more students. Sessions or like your program, but I feel like we've only really scratched the surface, especially with that program. And I would see that maybe to an after-school program with it. I wrote in 10 minutes, 5 minutes. See, they didn't motivate learning.
Very well received.
So great.
Here's one thing I've been told is they purchase, because now we own a lot of the
Yes.
materials. We might be able to do something. I think Bailey is talking about doing
Yeah,
something.
so
You know, we'll take advantage of owning the.
Right.
Well, Lisa Rice last year, again, she did during the fourth, use the Legos. That was our first purchase, and so she went from building to building. Then, you know, we decided to expand the sixth, and yes, we will extend the time next year. And we will expand it during the year. We talked about after school. Now we own the materials, so that's the biggest expense. It's just this summer only like 2 weeks. They were various times. Lego camp was probably the shortest of the surface. Special ed camp for 3 weeks.
They said the day is since later. That today is why we're pandemic.
We got the Yale camp, which was, that was 2 weeks. High school,
Very well received. Yeah.
I want to do one.
couple weeks. I mean, you can look into it, but I will tell you this year versus last year, we were amazed at how much staff, we were very worried with the number of staff that went to. Yeah, we had a lot of staff. So,
Just, I want you all to keep in mind that, most of those funds are ESSER funds. And at some point, they are going to run out and or get an indication of how much longer we can run them. But I think that's, I don't want to be unrealistic and say, because they're successful. Kids love it. It's, what better daycare for a parent than to send them to a camp where they're actually going to learn math and science like a Lego.
And I think we just like to, I know it's 14 days, and there's for sure benefit to extending that, just by understanding the summer slide, not that bad at all, by extending that program as well. I know it's difficult to get teachers and parents to get to anything longer than a 3-week program. I think we could find a way to be mindful of that particular student population. I think it would show whatever else.
One of the things also that brings up is you run more towards the start of the school year, where you keep it, where kids are kind of extending the year because they just came off the year and kind of build on what they've learned. So I've kind of gone back and forth. I think it would be much more difficult to get staff if just right when you start the school year. Teachers like their time, but in the end, would it be more beneficial to kids to almost have a jump on the school year and start the school year having learned or gone through whatever basics that they need to know.
The student representative application. So straight to the.
Just real quick, so we can come back. There's been a policy meeting scheduled for August 15th. That was early.
I know you asked for the first. The problem was, I think our people are on vacation. Most of the staff. Prior to the next board meeting, I mean,
Let's say if you have, it's not even Monday, Friday to a meeting.
maybe for the 7th, the 8th.
Yeah. So I guess Patrick, there will be a policy maybe date from now. There's a couple of policies that need to be enacted before school starts. But rather than talk about it now, tie up the agenda and try to not properly add it to the agenda. There'll be a policy for the meeting. And we'll post it on the August officially. This will be finance for back to school. Whatever, September 1st, whatever. So just to put on your radar, we'll need policy meeting and that will most likely be in City Hall. So that will most likely be in City Hall.
Mentioned before.
Questions. Couple questions. This it kind of goes back to what you were, well, not kind of, it does go back to what you were talking about, Judy. With Larry Ainsworth coming, can you just again, apologize for going backwards. Can you kind of give us the vision of like why he's coming? Was the curriculum committee invited? Are they invited to this? Are we all invited? What is the
We'd love to
thought?
have you attend. I mean, I know the last time he was here, all the board members were find it. In fact, what we should do, we also have copies of the book that he wrote where he actually dedicated it to
So what's,
West Haven as an example. It's about curriculum design, and keeping your standards high. This is his main thing.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get the, you got the book, I'm sorry.
I don't know if I had that. I did.
Jennifer and I have never seen it.
There's an activated version. For you, and then we have Zoom. That one has March 22nd. And we have 12 to 2. And of course, you're welcome to that. We're just going to go introduction of what we're here. Is that have right, tweak and keep up with the curriculum of a lot of things which you have. So we have a couple of extra steps now that we'd like to add to our curriculum. But I think you're welcome to. I'm sure we can. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yeah.
I was just gonna say, I don't know on his end if there's an issue because we're paying him for the service.
Right.
I like to provide somehow, assuming we can't. It's close to our website, or we travel.
Yeah, it works.
Maybe that's part of our. I'm not sure. Cost saving option to have it on, so you'd rather have it on. He's about far, for example, I'm sorry. I don't know. And that one come in. It'll be just as effective. I have to say, our staff is so used to it. We used to personally stay. It's working out very well, and then what's going to happen is after we do this, trust to them, because they'll be working with committees together, by grade levels, by subject here. We treat him as like a subject matter expert. He's not, has nothing to do with the state, nothing to do with.
In fact, well, when Dr. Andrew Zalowski was here, the state had really prescribed to this as far as how you write curriculum. And she brought it specifically to our district. She had a relationship with Douglas Reeves, I forget the name of the senator that he was from, Larry Ainsworth. They, I think for the entire time she was here, wanted her to go work for them and train new teachers. Again, it's basically, I would say the premise is writing curriculum, implementing curriculum, but keeping the standards high, going under the premise that all kids can learn.
I like that, it's keeping standards high.
Yeah, no, it could, really good. Again,
And again, we will, this happens in the past, so on my standards. I appreciate the vision being shared. In terms of, so I just want to clear up maybe communication with the city, or like I hear rumblings that our fields are never open, like this field, but then I've been to a bunch of different towns, 4 different towns, like their fields are all open, and I was here this weekend and it's open. So I just wanted clarification on when are our fields open for the public and when are they not? Are there regulations?
the high school field, for the most part, the events are scheduled just because so many people want to use it. The track is available. That's always open. But if there's nobody there, the gates are open. Kids go play on it. We kind of keep them off the baseball and softball field. But if kids want to work out on the football field, fact, Jennifer, one of the things that we did this year, we worked with the city council. There was $100,000 that they wanted to give to pay for kids to go to camp. We said, what if we were able to give kids jobs? So we've got kids down here actually watching the field, watching the pickleball courts in Daly. We've hired them. Dana's hired a lot of them to work at the high school, just maintenance and secretarial work. Because we do want to make them available to the public. We're opening them, I think it's early at 7 in the morning and then closing at sunset.
So the track is open.
The track is open to the
Every
public,
day.
absolutely, yeah. Again, the biggest problem is, like, I know we had American Legion use the field. I know that Shore Haven still use it for All-Stars and stuff. I don't know if there's something to it.
They did last year.
Twilight League used it, so it's open. That's permanent use though, mostly for our field. If the field were open, yeah, you can work out, and it is open pretty much 7 in the morning to 7 at night, 7 days a week.
That's great to know. Is there any way that is like, I just find it as like someone who's come into this community, not from this community, getting information about how to utilize community resources is something that's lacking. Not necessarily as a professional board, but on the city end, trying to get information about when are things open, how are things open. And I hear that, so it's not just me, I hear it from other people.
I think we've done a pretty good job this year because, again, one of the things we really wanted to do was make it, we spent a lot of money on the tennis courts, we spent a lot of money over at Daly. We spent, we're going to spend a lot of money at the high school field if the city comes through with their bonding. In fact, we actually planned, we thought that we were going to be able to start turf needs to be replaced. And that's part of the city's 5-year capital plan. The track is the original track. It's about 40 years old. And the softball field was going to get a drainage project. We had actually planned on closing the facility this summer. But since that didn't go through, I think we found a pretty good way to keep it open. The kids basically maintaining it, locking it, and picking up rubbish and those kinds of things. But I'm a big believer, the board knows of making our facilities available.
That's great. I really appreciate that. And so is it on the website, like when it's closed, or how does the public know?
No, we will put, I think it's good. I think we can put that up. I can talk to Mike.
Yeah, my fine.
Definitely signage, saying.
Yeah, I think it says sun open, you want to say sun
And it'll say
rise,
it's closed
sunset.
for, says that it's soccer campus there. We didn't want traffic.
I will tell you too, and this is, this doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. I'm a little disappointed with some of the vandalism that I've seen already. Like they took some of the rims down. We put 2 nice half courts at Haley. They took the rim down.
Twice.
Over here, the basketball court, they took the padding under the hoop. So, you get a little bit frustrated, but fortunately, we're doing the best we can to keep up with it. And again, I think the idea of constables or kids just being here will help the situation. That's one of the reasons we signed this.
Julie, thank you so much for sending the number of this motion via email. I just had a follow-up question on that. Were those numbers, did those increase, and have those been increasing over the years, or are you seeing any trends? It went down this year.
At your meeting with the state, we were concerned about that.
They
They
said
said
ours
it's a
were
trend.
up, actually, compared to for having what we're doing, we're actually putting another process in place and working on that. It was not usually here, right?
We actually looked, we're in the process of doing that now with Jim Tercio, possibly working with ACES to set up a program where they come in and run the program for us. I think that would be more effective, more of a like a revolving door where kids aren't, sentenced to, even a big sentence, we can get them in and out, and back on track a lot quicker. The one thing I worry about, the one thing I worry about with some of our alternate programs is the teachers get lax and they teach down to the kids rather than.
My point was not, but worse, that didn't work, but the success of the others. They did, they had, right, I think they did. How it went, what they.
No, I think it's a valid.
As we're preparing for the new school year, one of the things that I heard over this year was that teachers were having to buy their own paper for printing and copying. And I was wondering, is that still going to happen this year? And
It should never, the short answer, it should never happen.
okay,
That's something that, in my opinion, I've said this before, teachers are always going to do those kinds of things because they want to get the thing done quick right away rather than send it to the copy center. One of the things that I think may help is that we are currently, the contract with Xerox, who runs the copy centers up, we kind of think that we're at a point where maybe it would be more cost effective to put more printing back in the school and less in the copy center. I think a lot of the reasons they do that is because I need to make 20 copies really quick to prepare for a lesson or reteach a lesson or something like that.
so if they're printing in the school, they would have to provide.
Oh, well, no, we would provide it for them or we would give them an allotment. We should never have to provide them.
Yeah, I don't know where this is, where the.
Matt is more familiar.
Yeah,
with
so
the
what we do is around this time, actually, the first sort of like we make an original paper, some 150 cases for high school, about like 75, some of the principal that figure that out. And when that paper, when their school paper is out, they have to contact us. And we, so until we hear from the school, we're assuming that they have paper. They know the contact us is launch, so it's close, instruction. But yes, we need to buy a significant amount of paper.
That's really helpful to know. So is there like a tracking that we do where like the principals, they say they feel like they have to say no to multiple requests? And is there a way that you would know kind of the list of requests that a principal gets so that they're not feeling, I mean, it's great that everyone maybe feels like they're trying to protect projects. For supplies, because we're saying, we've said this, we said it before, where all teachers will just buy their own supplies, maybe it's easier or whatever. But maybe teachers have run into the answer is no, every time I ask, so I'm just gonna stop asking. It's easier for me.
We can certainly get the word out to our administrators that, be receptive. I would say most of the time they say yes, but, before you say definite no, let us know, because most of the time there's a way for us to get them what they need.
I don't think myself have ever said supply or.
A lot of I did come up with my stuff only because it was stuff I just wanted that, school supplies, where I wanted to go shopping myself or
We have talked about a central, possibly setting something up at Malloy where we would would have like house supplies and we can get it to the schools quick, so it doesn't take long. Water, whether it be pencils or crayons or just the day-to-day kinds of things. I'm not sure why we haven't followed through on that, other than that it's a little challenging. Because there's so many things at the school, we would have to try to maybe centralize first prior to figure out what we actually have on hand before we do that.
And who knows, that might be even, maybe teachers wouldn't like that. That
Yeah.
idea. I just wonder, like, in the survey, like, how do we, when we hear complaints about that, those sort of things, it's like supplies, maybe not complaints, but just concerns.
A lot of orders too, Jennifer.
Sorry about that.
I said, we have a lot of orders too, where you want to, you'd be surprised at the construction paper.
I wouldn't be
The
surprised.
shades of red are unbelievable.
That question. So, you know, that something, if we don't know that the teachers are attending something, there's no way for us to provide for that. So if there is. Just contact us.
A lot of principals have like class or ISF class. Like Matt says, if they don't ask, you know.
What happens with the paper though is if it's above a certain amount of copies, they're supposed to go to the copy center. And we do get a printout report of how many copies teachers are making in our building. And so if Kim comes to me and says, hey, I need more paper, and I say, Kim, you made 1,000 copies last month, you really need to be sending that to the copy center. A lot of times Kim's gonna say, okay, I'll just buy my own paper because she doesn't necessarily want to use the copy center, and I'm pushing back on giving more paper because she is printing jobs that should be going to the copy center. So I think that's where a lot of that comes from. It's just the convenience of making your own copies. But it's not that we don't have paper, it's that we do have to have some kind of threshold for, okay, yes, you can make 20 copies, but if you're making 500, that really needs to go to the copy center.
Two more things. The sidewalks, I noticed that the sidewalks are getting done in front of Bailey and here, so that was exciting. We've done sidewalks. Is that, are those part of city?
Those are city funded through their ESSER grants.
Okay. And then I know we don't have the state reps here tonight. I was just curious, how does the process go with the new student reps?
We have 2 coming back this year.
No, we have all 3 of our student reps graduated, so we will hold interviews the first week of school next year for our new student reps. They should be for our second board meeting of the year. They should be there.
So you have a team that interviews them?
The student council, it's a student-based team, so we, we'll oversee the process of the students actually conduct the interviews. The senior class council.
On my own part, I would definitely like to. So, but, see. It's still. Any other. Many part of the thing. It's still trained for you. Now we're going to play for you now. I'm probably not able to assist them.
Got a good team.
Yes, you definitely do. October minutes. Any discussions? Abstentions? Okay, all in favor? Into resignations. So we have 22 -30. So 22-37, all inclusive. Motion.
say, like, every time you several. They're a loss to the school system, but I wish that's my time.
One of them was my teacher.
Bill Harley closely 22-28, I'm down here to 22-52. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? New business. Motion. Vote.
Motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? On the information, I want to bring your attention to F21. From the landscape. That appointment is reserved. They will be going back to Saturday. Right. So, 9 and 1, Copy paper.